Hello everyone, we are now in day 21 of 22 days reading through the book of Isaiah together. And so we begin today's reading with chapter 61. Some of this language may resonate with you, it certainly does for me. As we walk through the book of Luke, and in Luke chapter 4, Jesus is given the scroll. He's there in his hometown of Nazareth, asked to give a sermon, as it were. He opens the Isaiah scroll and reads from Isaiah 61 here. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He's chosen me to encourage the poor, the brokenhearted, release the captives, to free the prisoners, to announce the year of God's favor. All of this has been consistent with what we've been reading within the last few sections. It's also consistent with Jubilean language, the Jubilee found in Leviticus chapter 25, where every 50 years there was to be a release, as it were, of many things, including debts, property liens, and so forth. And so here it's as if when the exiles are being called back home, it's as if it were a blank slate. When Jesus proclaims this in Luke chapter 4, again, it's as if it is a blank slate. And what's going to happen is they're going to rebuild the ruins, restore the desolate, reestablished ruined cities. They're going to, it's obviously restoration language. Foreigners, who we've been reading about the last couple of sections, they're going to be here as well, working in vineyards and shepherding. They're going to be wealthy. Instead of shame, you've heard me refer to this honor-shame society. They're going to have a double portion. Instead of humiliation, they are going to rejoice. They're going to possess a double portion in their land, everlasting joy. God's justice is going to prevail. There's going to be this permanent covenant here. Again, all very optimistic language here, with rejoicing, with the robe of vindication. Remember in the parable of the prodigal son in Luke 15, the exiled son, as it were, who was exiled by choice because of his own stubbornness, he returns home and the father puts on a robe. Maybe this is that idea contained therein, the robe of vindication. And so we move into chapter 62. Here in the early verses, you'll no longer be called abandoned. You'll no longer be called desolate. Instead, you'll be called, my delight is in her. Then your land will be called married. Another poetic chapter. Here the identity is going to be replaced. They're going to be going from the negative identity, the language of disappointment, to the positive language. And that kind of comes back here, back to chapter 61 and verse 3. That God's going to give the oil of joy instead of the oil of mourning, a garment of praise rather than that of discouragement. And let's see, then I'm going to move on to chapter 63. Again, we have a lot of poetic imagery here. One thing I do want to point out, I am going to keep this video very short. Tomorrow is Christmas Eve, and all of our schedules are a bit more compact, I'm sure. But when Jesus preached this, Isaiah 61, this release passage, the Hebrew people, and one of the reasons why Isaiah was the most popular writing during popularly read writing during the time of Jesus, is that they realized that this hadn't been completely fulfilled. It had in part. They had returned home, but yet, even while they were in their land, they felt like exiles. There were occupying powers. There were a lot of other economic circumstances that were created a very harsh living environment. It was a miracle that they could survive, even as one ancient Near East scholar put it. And so, with Jesus preaching this, he was preaching its ultimate fulfillment. The ethics that Jesus implemented there in Nazareth, Luke's gospel, as well as the other gospels, we see that these are the ethics of Isaiah 61, to release people from bondage, to set people free from captives and oppressors, to welcome in exiles, to offer forgiveness, and all of that. And Jesus came along and fulfilled that. And even while we are working to that end, to those ends, to do on earth as it is in heaven, we're still waiting for the ultimate arrival of that Jubilee, so to speak. Okay, well, I'm grateful for those who have stuck with me. We had a lot of challenging readings, especially early on, and it was a test of your fortitude and commitment. And so thank you for continuing with me, and tomorrow for Christmas Eve, we will finish all of this up.